In 2021, after overcoming the most critical phase of the public health emergency, the world economy started growing again. International trade and exchanges of manufactured goods also started expanding again. The upswing concerned all major economies in the world, even if to a different extent. In Asia, China and India registered the highest increases. A completely different response was that of the Japanese economy, which remained at a standstill. Among the countries that most suffered the effects of the pandemic, the United Kingdom experienced a strong recovery. The United States and the Eurozone had a very similar pace of expansion. In the European Union, France and Italy stood out, thanks to their growth rate above the average. On the contrary, Germany had difficulty taking off again. In 2021, the world production of machine tools returned above €70 billion. Asia reaffirmed to be the first area with regard to contribution to the production of the sector, followed by Europe. The Americas were far behind. After the downturn in 2020, even consumption reversed course and increased, exceeding €67 billion. Demand grew less in Europe than in the other areas of the world. On the contrary, the market in the Americas was very dynamic. International trade highlighted a significant recovery. In 2021, once again China confirmed its first place in the world ranking of machine tool manufacturing countries, followed by Germany, Japan, the United States and Italy. On the other hand, in the ranking of the major exporting countries, Germany came in first, before Japan, China and Italy. Taiwan ranked fifth. Considered on the whole, i.e. by adding up the values of machine tools, robots and automation systems, in 2021 the Italian production of the sector increased to over €6 billion. If besides the production of machines we also consider that of parts, tools, numerical controls and services to machines, the economic value of the sector amounts to over €9 billion. Above expectations, the trend of the order index rose by 70.1% on a yearly average basis, plus 166.6% domestic orders, plus 43.6% export orders. The high dynamism of domestic demand, supported by the incentives of Transition 4.0, is measured by the data of consumption up to over 40%. This trend benefited both the deliveries of Italian manufacturers and imports. Despite the upturn, the market share covered by foreign supply remained at the usual level. Due to the persistent restrictions to the mobility of goods and people, the recovery of exports was more moderate. The balance of trade decreased. The positive performance registered by the Italian industry of the sector had a positive impact on the utilization rate of production capacity, whose yearly average recorded an upturn of over 15 percentage points. The order portfolio also increased, attaining extremely high levels. In 2021, Italian exports of machine tools only, i.e. excluding robotics and automation, went up compared to the previous year. The trend was particularly positive in the first part of the year, then slowed down and almost came to a standstill in the following quarters. The major export market for the Italian production was Germany, followed by the United States, China, Poland and France. In 2021, despite the context of general recovery, the weight of Italian exports and consumption expressed by the main markets grew very moderately. In the two leading world markets, China and the United States, the weight of Italian exports even decreased. A share of 44.9% of Italian exports was directed to the countries of the European Union. A slight drop was reported in the weight of Asia, where sales absorbed 17.9% of total exports. Sales to North America covered 15.5%. Deliveries to non-EU Europe, stable in fourth place in the ranking of export areas, represented 13.9%, of the total. South America more than doubled its purchases of Italian machine tools, taking on 3.8% of total exports. Despite the sales rise, the weight of Africa was stable, absorbing 2.4% of the total. In 2021, the Italian machine tool manufacturing industry recovered almost all the ground lost in 2020, recording double-digit increases with regard to production, exports, deliveries, imports, and consumption. In particular, consumption showed an extremely brilliant trend, almost reaching the record-breaking levels registered in 2018. The growth trend of all economic indicators, as well as the trend of the order index in 2021, which has never been so high, raise hopes for the results of 2022, despite the problems related to price rises and difficult supply of raw materials and components.